High-speed
Great to be with
rail,
you.
it's been an idea that's been kicking around for a while, but, well, never gets up. Why will it be any different this time?
Oh, look, there's been a lot of talk about it. Anthony's been passionate about this since he came into Parliament. He saw the benefits for regional Australia about connecting capital cities and those regional towns along the route. I'm confident that if Labor gets elected, it'll be high on our infrastructure agenda at the next election. Anthony's also introduced private members' bills over the course of his time as Shadow Minister for Infrastructure to try and get both the debate and the engineering work underway for high-speed rail. It could be a game changer for those regional communities in the same way that inland rail has been boosted by the National Party for those freight routes. The benefit of high-speed rail, it connects our major cities and the regional towns along the way, and it means that people can move out of the cities and into regional Australia. If we've learned anything from the COVID pandemic, we've learned that a hell of a lot of work can be done from almost anywhere.
It's interesting though, isn't it, the talk of people moving out into regional communities. If migration numbers really do collapse as expected, the cities might not be as clogged up, but maybe that push towards the regions will actually dwindle.
Oh, mate, tell that to somebody from Wollongong. Why would you live in Sydney or Melbourne if you could live in Wollongong? We've got great beaches, beautiful escarpment. We're an hour and a half from Sydney with good internet, good rail travel. Places like Wollongong, in fact, towns up and down the east coast of Australia and inland towns as well, have the capacity to absolutely boom, because people can do their once city-based jobs from those regional areas while enjoying the amazing lifestyle that regional towns have to offer. I'm a big fan of it.
Sounds like you are. There's your personal pitch. We'll see if it works. I want to talk to the situation in Victoria, though. Yesterday, Daniel Andrews conceding there would be an approach, a more localised one in Victoria, so seemingly very much adopting what's happened in New South Wales, also going for automation. Reports that some of the contact tracing was done by fax. This is a pretty big concession, is it, on a subpar system? And as the PM said, New South Wales is the gold standard on this.
Look, I'll tell you what is not the gold standard, and that's the government's COVID tracing app. The COVID Safe app was supposed to be the technological solution that got us all out from under the doona. It's been a manifest failure. And the Prime Minister, instead of lecturing states on how they should do their business, should stick to his knitting and get his own COVID Safe app up and running. As far as the differences between Victoria and New South Wales, they went into this pandemic with vastly different health systems. New South Wales, their administration much more decentralised than Victoria, which has a much more centralised, both a centralised population and a centralised health administration arrangement. The decentralisation of their health administration gave New South Wales a real advantage in contact tracing. It means they had decentralised contact tracers who had intimate knowledges of the regions where they were attempting to do that human-to-human tracing.
That might have been part of the structure. Yeah, Victoria's sort of smaller and more concentrated. How does that explain though things such as faxes still being used? I mean, it just seems antiquated.
I can't remember the last time I got a fax, I've got to say, Tom. If that's true, I'm truly astounded by it. I can't explain that, to be honest. Here's what I do know, that we're not talking about in Victoria or any of our other states about what is going to be the best case scenario. In the middle of a pandemic, what we are trying to put in place is a health solution which deals with the pandemic so that we can get our businesses and our economy moving again. One thing we know, though, I do want to make this point, we aren't going to get our economy moving again when people see their neighbours in their community and people being rushed off to intensive care. If we've seen anything from around the world, the economic solution is the health solution. They go hand in hand.
Just want to ask you about superannuation. You'll be talking about it today. You're making the case that the increase needs to happen because by 2065, we'll have 3 workers for every retiree versus 6 to 1 at the moment. Does that mean that superannuation ultimately will need to increase a lot more than the current slated increase out to 12%?
What it means, Tom, is we need constant and steady policy. We know that 9.5 is not enough. In fact, politicians know that. They give themselves not 9.5%, not 10%, not 12%, but they give themselves 15% because they understand that that's what is required. Public servants get 15.5%. Around the country, there's a significant proportion of the population that's already getting more than 9.5%. We need steady policy, not chopping and changing. We do need to increase. What does that mean for
12% and the viability of that?
We do need to increase. We need to stick to the legislated timetable. It's already been delayed by a decade, which means there are hundreds of thousands of Australians who are hundreds of thousands of dollars worse off. Let's not push the bill onto another generation of Australians by saying to our grandkids, we don't care about the problems that we're kicking down the road. We're putting it on the bill and you're going to pick up the tab. That's not good enough for Australia. We can do better than that. Every Australian deserves to retire with dignity.
All right. We didn't get a firm answer on the 12%. Perhaps I'll probe another day. We're out of time.
The 12%, we need to stick with the 12%. Let me give you a very firm answer on that. Labor commits to the 12%. Let's deal with the 12%. I'll be very satisfied, Tom, if we stick with the legislated 12% in 5 modest increases between 2020 and 2025.
Stephen Jones, thank you. Talk again soon.